Former rider, Grey Cup winner in studio with us. Brendon LaBatte is joining us. Thanks for making some time. You're in dropping off the kids doing a little twirl at the rink?
Yep. Had a little time to kill, just got him dropped off, so I decided I'd slide over and finally get on the show.
That's right. We met at Country Thunder, what was it, a couple weeks ago, having a pint, so that was great. Okay, so let's go into the wreck as you're racing cars from a couple weeks ago. I think a lot of people held their breath. The rollover, it was in Estevan on the dirt track. Take us through what happened there. Obviously, you're okay. Everyone was worried.
Yeah, it was a wild ride. They got a bunch of rain, and actually we rained out in Minot the night before, so I think we were really trying to push. It's a big tour. Cars come from all over the U.S. to be on this tour, and after it rained out, they got that inch of rain in the morning. They were disking it, blading it, trying to do as best they could to get us a surface to race on, and it was a ton of traction out there, and for the first time in 24 years, I went over, and it happened so fast I didn't even have a chance to save it. It was we were running third, thought I had a good enough car to be up front, so we were driving it hard on the second time around, and it went up, bicycled onto the two right side tires. I hit a little rut, and it was gone before I even knew what happened.
Yike!
Yeah, for 3.5 rolls and finished up on the roof. And that was the worst part, is smelling gas and being upside down and not knowing, do I pull the belts and start trying to shimmy out, and then you risk the car being unstable and possibly pinching you. So I just was yelling at the track officials, just, I'm fine, just get me back on my wheels, flip me over. And once they said that they had the fire truck there with all the rescue equipment and stuff so that it wouldn't just go up in flames, I kind of settled down a little bit and started undoing the gear and waited to get tipped over.
What's Mama Bear and the kids?
Well, I think they thought I was definitely going to get out, but my youngest daughter, she was pretty upset about it. She came over crying, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm all right. Don't worry about it. And she, but your car's wrecked. And I was like, well, that's not a big deal.
We can get another one.
Yeah.
We can get another one. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
How big is that Estevan track? Like what kind of
3/8 mile on dirt clay. So that's normally what we run on, anywhere from 1/4 mile to a 1/2 mile tracks all around the U.S. is kind of the normal routine for us.
Now, when you talk about the circuit, how many tracks are you going on? How many drivers? How many cars?
So this deal was it's 6 tracks and 6 nights is what it's supposed to be. And you start in Jamestown to Minot to Estevan to Williston to Dickinson and then over to Mandan. And that was the intended, and weather didn't quite cooperate. And then this year we were pulling about 45 stock cars every night, and the modifieds were in the mid-60s, so there's over 100 cars there every night, and you're competing to be in the top 24 will make the feature race for that evening. So pressure's on, and that's why you got to drive as hard as you do to try and make it into the show.
6 shows, 6 nights, back to back to back to back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a grind in the heat of the summer there. So that's
well, not to mention what it does to your vehicles, right? To the cars.
Yeah. Well, that's
like
why.
Once you flip it upside down, you're pretty much out for the next race, right?
Yeah, I ended up missing a night just because, I mean, that car probably could have been salvaged, but it just took us a day. We had a brand new backup that we had just built over the winter, and so we ended up transferring everything over to it, and it takes a while to get it all set up just the way you want it, and then we caught back up in Dickinson.
So in any racing sport, we got to thank the sponsors. So obviously, if you're running two cars, you got a ton of sponsors that support you on this.
Not a ton. We do a lot of it ourselves. So my brother builds all the cars. Dad does all the engine work for us. We got an engine dyno, and then I do all the shock and suspension work. So Penske Shocks has been big for us. They've really helped us out in the last couple of years. And then ADI Hunts, who I work for up north, and we do a bunch of outpost fishing and hunting trips. So they've come on board and really helping us out. And then Southside Auto Wreckers has been with me since I started 24 years ago. And there's not a whole lot of stock parts that we really use on these cars anymore, but anything that we do need, they're always there to help us out.
Former rider Brendon LaBatte is joining us in studio, and Sharky is just, it's like you're talking to, it'd be like me talking to Tom Brady. This guy, you're talking stock cars,
football,
and you get to talk hunting
and fishing
as well, because you're big in the hunting game.
Yeah, I do a lot of hunting myself personally, and then since I retired from football and got out of that game, I've been big game guiding up north. So we're based out of Mississippi, and then in the fall we'll fly out, and we're anywhere from probably 80 to 150 miles away north of Mississippi on the float plains. We'll land, and then we go on 10-day moose hunt, and then we'll come back, grab another set of hunters, and go out for another 10 days. So I'll spend 3 weeks up up north for that, and then in the spring we do spring black bear hunts as well.
I could talk to you for hours, let alone minutes. But on the hunting part, when you talk about those, do you pre-scout those lakes? Like, how do you figure out where's your spots to go, or do you have some that you've already zones?
Our company, Adventure Destinations, we own 5 different outposts that have cabins and everything. All the equipment's already there with our boats and everything. So we use those, and then we'll determine which ones. So actually, at the start of September here, me and the other guy that I guide with get to go up, and we kind of scout it out and see what's looking the most promising, and then we'll make the plans from there. And we start September 20th till the 30th, and then we'll go out, come back for that day or two, and then from the 1st to the 10th of October as well. So
I'm in. Like, what do I got to do? Like, where do I sign up?
Well, we actually have one spot left. We had a cancellation, so if you want in,
whatever help you need. I'm a good hand in all of this, right? I can skin, I can do whatever. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Sharky, this is
the best day, the best show we've ever had, Barney.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk some football here. Riders, Elks tomorrow. Another great start for the green and white. When you're watching the games, what are you seeing about this team, and especially maybe more so the coaching staff the last 2 years? Doesn't it seem like they're galvanizing? It's like a real team. What you guys used to have.
It looks that way. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot, but I think Coach Mace has done a really good job. I think he's just got an enthusiasm and a confidence about him that just radiates through the rest of the guys. And I like what they're doing up front. I think they have a really solid crew, and I think Furlan's a great player, so he's been huge. And like it always is in the CFL, I think it's whoever can be healthy and down the stretch. As long as you can avoid those big major injuries and not having anybody have to sit out any extended period of time, I think you stand a good chance. But I think there is something to be said for the experience of some of the other teams around the league too. That makes them always tough. You kind of see Winnipeg slumping a little bit, but you can never really count them out.
The offensive line, and last year they, a rash of injuries, and then this year again, and we got Noah Zare going in, Zach Fry out this week. Back in the day, maybe there wasn't as much social media, not that you played that long ago. But did you guys have like the rash of offensive line injuries that they're seeing over here the last 2 years? Do you remember?
Not when we were having really successful seasons, I don't think. I think, I think back to 13, 14, and we're always had that same core nucleus in that and was able to dress for a lot of games. And that's a lot of it up there is just having that unspoken trust, and you don't always have a chance to communicate, but you just have that built-in bond of where you kind of know how you're going to function with the guys beside you. So that's something that only reps and time is going to build. So, I mean, as long as they've been working together, and I mean, I think Furlan in the middle really helps out. I think it starts with a good center. So having him getting everybody on the same page is big.
When you go back to your time in the CFL, who's a guy, maybe it was a player, maybe it was who's a guy that really you learned the most from?
Oh, Bob Wiley. My rookie year when I had Wiley out in Winnipeg, I mean, he kind of took me under his wing and treated me like a son, and it just built up the confidence, even when I would get beat or I'd, get laid out or anything like that, he'd kind of always have a chuckle about it. It was never like he had to be worried about getting yelled at or losing your job or anything. He knew that it was going to be, it was going to take a while to kind of build up and develop, and he was in for it the whole time. So right out of the gate, I was so blessed to have Bob Wiley as an O-line coach.
As you look, I don't know how closely you're following the league this year, how much you're on top of it, based on the fact you're rolling upside down half the time, wandering around Estevan. But as you look at the league this year, the Riders clearly out in front at 5-1.
Well, Calgary wants to say something about that.
I'm not worried about Calgary yet. But do you really see Winnipeg or BC catching up, or are they really got themselves in trouble?
I think Winnipeg just has so many proven guys that, it's tough to show up for 18 games straight. So, they're going to have their ups and downs, and I just would never count those guys out, until they prove that they've lost a step in October, November. I still think that they got it up their sleeve.
They're in the mix, yeah.
Absolutely. I just don't think you can go against a team like that.
Do you keep in touch with a lot of guys, especially like the guys from the 13 team?
Yeah, I was actually just on the fishing trip with Neil Hughes over the last weekend. We were up at Twin Falls catching walleye and pike, so I got to hang out and have a few beers with him. And I like to stay in touch with a few of the guys.
We we get to talk to Darian every Monday here on the show, and then he's just still he wants, you can just tell he wants to be a coach, wants to be a manager. Like, he just has that brain. When you go back, him as a leader, what do you remember about him?
He just, every single guy in the locker room was important to him. Like, he was never, when you're a superstar like that, and he never really came off as that. He'd talk to the practice roster guy and joke with him the same as he would as the O-line, and there wasn't a group in the room that doubles didn't have a good rapport with. So I think that he's one of the best leaders. But the thing that I always thought about when I was in Winnipeg is the guy was a cheat code. We had Joe Lobendon, who was jacking up Wes Cates in the A-gap, and then all of a sudden he comes through untouched and double shakes him off like nothing. Just the natural strength that he had in his lower body and what he was physically able to do, I think really allowed him to have everybody else buy in and believe in him, because he was just so physically dominant when you compare him, what his skill set and toolbox was compared to other quarterbacks at that time.
First off, this is an amazing conversation. I could do this all day long. Football, NASCAR.
We haven't even got into Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, we haven't got to Hulk Hogan yet. When you go back to 13, and even before that, when you're in Winnipeg and you make that transformation to the Riders, right? Was that a hometown thing that you wanted to do? Was it what caused the move from? Because you were an all-star in Winnipeg. You were doing great there, right? There was no reason to leave Winnipeg. What made the move happen?
Definitely seeing what they had going on here. They had been to the Grey Cup there in 9 and 10, and then 11 was kind of our year, but we weren't really committed to long-term success. I didn't feel like out there when it came to negotiations and seeing Joe Mack's plan at that time. So to know what they had going on here with Jim Hobson and Brennan Taman, that was as soon as I could get back, that was what I was looking to do. So it made it easy. And then as soon as BT went out and was able to get Dominic Picard, who I was a teammate with in Winnipeg before he went over to Toronto, everything started to line up, and it was a no-brainer to come back.
So you enjoyed playing with that cranky Frenchman beside you?
I loved it. I loved it. Sometimes I always thought he was getting the D linemen so fired up at him based on the way that he played that when they were lined up against me, they didn't hit me with their best stuff. They were saving it for him. So, but day in, day out, for the way he prepared and how much it meant to him, it was just awesome to be around. And he kind of elevated everybody around him and held everybody to that standard. And he was really good at keeping guys accountable.
Nice.
When you were a kid and you were playing just for the love of the game, and I don't know if it was 9 aside or what you played back then, but when you go back to those times and was there a time that you were like, hey, I'm gonna play football when I'm older, and you get to university and all that, or what do you go back? What was the thought process? Because a lot of times the guys wanted to play hockey or guys wanted to do something else. What was it for you?
And that was me all growing up. I was hockey, baseball, and we did, we took our baseball pretty serious down in Weyburn. And then I played my grade 12 final game when we lost, and I never even thought about playing football again. And then Frank McChrystal reached out to me. Would have been towards the end of February, and he's like, you want to come to the U of R and play with the Rams? And at that point, I had 3 junior teams that were interested in wanting me to go out and play, and then Frank was the only university team that had reached out. So, yeah, sure, I'll come. Well, what do you want to take? And I was like, maybe I'll do education. He's like, well, you got to have this big, long essay typed up by March 1st or something. And I was like, well, that's not going to happen. So we'll just, the first year, just go in. And he redshirted me, and it turned out to be great. And that's kind of when it clicked that, if I can just keep doing what the coaches are asking and show up and give it my all, that maybe I can play this game a little longer than just college.
The players that guy, had come through that program, even from junior into CIS, and he's gotten the recognition, and just an amazing, we had him on the show last year, amazing mind for the game. Yeah,
he was a great leader of young men. Like that's what I always thought. As I look back and I reflect on it a little bit now, he was always, we want to make you a good football player, but we want to make you a better person. So that was always kind of the ultimate goal of that program. And I thought he just had a way of bringing guys in. If you needed help, he was willing to help. If you needed discipline, he'd discipline, So I thought, looking back, that was one of the things that we did. You can almost be most proud of is there's so many things that are trying to steer you off track, and Frank was able to keep guys on track and focused on the goal.
And there's more things to steer them off track now than ever before, without a doubt. Yeah. I can't imagine you being a junior hockey player. Like, we played hockey for a long time, but I didn't want to line up against you on the left wing. No.
I wish I would have been in the talks of playing junior. I fizzled out pretty early. I mean, I played my 14 years, and I played all the way through U18 or midget, but that was it. There was definitely an end of the line, and I didn't have the foot speed or I was probably 60 pounds too heavy to have any sort of wheels on skates. So,
do you still play in the Rider winter games that they have, or the hockey games that they have?
Every once in a while I coach. So I coached my kid last year. So I'm on the Blades more in the last few years than I was for probably the 10 previous in that. And I remember playing in a few of the Rider games, and it was awesome. The very first, actually in 2012 when I first signed back here, and shortly after that, I ended up meeting the majority of the teammates on the bus at the North Gate, and we were going out to Raymore. And that was probably one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. I mean, they're packed 5-6 deep in the standing room only. And here I am, just a house league hockey player, dreamer, and getting to have the full, go out, and then after the warm-ups, you get the flood and everything. And that was big time. So I felt like that old school Molson Canadian commercial where they bring in all the fans and the Stanley Cup and stuff for those bush leaguers or beer leaguers. That's what it was to me.
That's pretty cool.
No bucket in warm-up.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
This is big time. Back in the day when you guys did that, who was the best hockey player on the Riders? Was it Getzlaff?
Yeah, Getty was pretty good.
Because Lawther's good now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Beggar was pretty good too.
Oh, Beggar.
Yeah, Rob Begg was good. And Dressler, I liked that he wasn't good because it was about the only thing that he wasn't I ever seen that he wasn't good. I mean, you could go and play ping pong against him, and he was just naturally good at everything. So to see him actually kind of ride the ankles for a little bit was kind of a nice feeling. He is human after all.
Darian talks about Bagg as one of the hardest working players he ever played with. Like, he just was nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. His preparation, gym work, he was so intense in everything he did, that he was. And it showed. I mean, look at the guy's physique. He was an absolute specimen. So, he's one of them guys. And same with John Chick. And Chicky was another guy that was just an absolute animal.
And he's still
24/7.
See him on Instagram. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's no slowing down with them guys. They're thoroughbreds. They're meant to run.
What? Your boy's going into U13 hockey. Any football for him?
Hasn't. We'll play catch with it, but it's really not even on his radar. No. I've offered to get him out there, and we'll go play some minor football and stuff, but it's just not something he's interested in. He likes his golf and his hockey right now.
Any memories of Hulk Hogan?
Against Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I was young, but I remember watching that over and over and over. And then that was when you had to go to the video store to actually rent it afterwards, and that would always be the one I'd go and rent.
Was it Weyburn? Did they have their own video store, or was it a confectionery that rented videos?
No, we had a couple.
Oh yeah,
had a couple. Sweet. Just straight video stores. Weyburn Video.
I know you got to get to the rink because your boy's skating. Thanks so much for popping in and doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Very cool.
And
Thanks,
then what's the name of the company? Adventure Destinations.
Adventure Destinations. So you can check us out online and see everything we have to offer.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I know exactly where it is.
Yeah,
I know all the details.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So we got a lot to offer up there. We got those 5 outpost camps. We got one camp that's more or less an all-inclusive where you can just drive right into Mississippi and do it any way you want. You want a guide, you want to do it yourself, however.
What's the furthest one? Furthest outpost?
Furthest outpost right now would be at Bill's Lake.
Bill's Lake, and that's one of the grayling, right?
Yep.
We got to talk. I got to get there. I haven't caught one of those things. I got to make that happen.
Yeah. I want to go bear hunting in the spring. We talked about bait at Country Thunder. My dad used to sell bait to. Anyways, long story. Brendon LaBatte, former rider, joining us in studio. It is the Sports Cage. We are streaming at thesportscage.com.